All right, happy Monday. Gonna do a collection update today. We're gonna start digging into this massive box of stuff that Intuit Records sent me a couple of days ago. I did an unboxing video on that on Friday or Saturday. I don't remember. Goddamn, I'm still under the weather, as you can probably tell. This sickness has really just been some of the like a very weird plague. um, I wiped out my whole family. My son had a fever for like 4 days. My other son had a fever for 3 days. I had a fever for 2 days. My wife had a fever for 2 days. And now we just got this like cold congestion cough, and it's just annoying as hell. It's not going away. So I'm going on over a week now being sick, but definitely on the mend, feeling a lot better than what I was. So on Friday, I received a package from Intuit Records, and I got a ton of stuff, as you guys saw. And I said in that video I was going to start dissecting it and showing them off in separate collection updates and talk about the music and show off the tapes and the CDs that were sent to me. I also threw in one extra CD for this collection update today because I did get it in the mail last week as well after being on pre-order for a while. And it's not death metal. It's black metal. But I really want to talk about it because this has been one of my favorite releases to come out this year, and I've been listening to it a ton. I thought about doing like a product showcase video just on this, but you know what? We're talking music today. I'll throw it in there. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll do the CDs first, and I'll start off talking about this one right here. So I showed this off in the video the other day. Again, this was sent to me in the Intuit Records box. This is Eternal with Cryptic Lust. This is their first full-length album that just came out this year. I can't remember the date. Let me. I probably should have, written this in the notes of my video, but we don't do things very professionally over here, so it's okay. You'll forgive me, right? This came out March 15th, so it was fairly recently on Skull Recordz. I have a hard time saying that album, that label name. They are based out of the Netherlands, and so getting their stuff shipped into the U.S. can be kind of pricey, especially if you just want one CD. But I got really lucky and had this sent to me in that package. And I've been listening to this ever since it came out, admittedly because of the album cover. And I also saw some YouTuber had this t-shirt on, and I don't remember who it was. Now I'm blanking on it. And I was like, okay, if he's wearing the shirt, then he must really enjoy it because he's got a pretty particular taste in death metal. So I went and listened to it on Bandcamp. Really, really enjoyed it. Was going to buy it directly from the band because they're based out of Arizona, because I saw that they had this on their Big Cartel and like added it to the list of things that I wanted to buy when funding was available and when I was able to, but I got lucky and didn't have to. So again, this is their first full-length album. I just want to say this is definitely one of those bands that I feel, in my opinion, they are worshiping the old death metal heads of Florida and even Sweden. They kind of mix it pretty well. The 90s death metal era. And they are just doing it so well. There's like no frills on this album. There's nothing like super groundbreaking or anything like that, but they take that old school 90s death metal flair of some Swedish sound and then also the 90s Florida death metal sound, and they just blend it together into this like fusion of death metal, and it's just so good, and they do it in such a great fashion. Every single song is super catchy. There's 12 songs on here. Obviously there's a couple of intros and interludes and stuff. The 12th song is a Mayhem cover, Death Crush. It's all right. I mean, I think it's just a little fun addition to the album. It's their take on the song. I enjoy it. I think that I thought it was fun. So technically, it's 11 songs on here. But when you're listening to this album, like you'll be listening to it and just super into it, and then all of a sudden you look over at the CD player and it's like, holy shit, I'm on the last song already. How did that happen? Because you get really into it. Again, if you're a person that just likes meat and potatoes death metal, doesn't like any of the super technical or the super proggy or whatever, atmospheric or whatever, and you like that just straightforward, 90s death metal worship done right, this is absolutely the album for you. And this has been one of my favorite releases to come out this year. I've been listening to this a ton on Bandcamp, and then streaming services, which I don't have. It's Bandcamp, it's my streaming service. But so yeah, here is the booklet. Like I said, I would show that off in these videos. Lyrics, and then there's the band, and they are playing. That's an awesome V. I just realized that. So they're in the background of the booklet, is what I'm trying to say. There they are. And then here you go. I wanted to call out one thing. The cover art was done by Badic, B-A-D-I-C. I'm not too sure who that is. I like the color. I like the cover art. It's blue. And usually when you see blue cover art, you think of like Necrolord. But so this is a nice little spin on it. And then back here is another image. So this album is really, really good. I really enjoy it. Definitely pick it up. Into It Records also has the tape now that just finally got released. So if you're a tape head, you'd rather have the tape, there you go. I don't know about the vinyl, though. I can't remember if there was a vinyl pressing of this. Maybe I didn't look into it before recording this video. So, awesome stuff. This is definitely going to be one of my favorite releases to come out this year. I listen to it a lot. It's just a really easy listen. It's a comfort listen, to be honest with you, because there's so many things on here that I hear across the board that they're, pretty much putting their worship into. And they do it really, really well. So, good stuff. If you're an old school death metal head and you can't stand some of the new school death metal, this is definitely one of those bands that you should be listening to. So that was the first CD in the box that I pulled out of Into It Records. And so now I'm going to go into some tapes. So this is the one that got the most engagement in that whole entire video. I had like 4 people message me about it. And it was this one. Armored Angel was Stigmartyr. And I said I wasn't too familiar with it. I wasn't, to be honest with you. And I'm not always familiar with all the old school underground bands. There's a lot out there. And I wasn't into the scene when these types of releases were coming out. Obviously, I was a baby. So this one was the one that a lot of people shot me a message, said, "Oh, Melody, you're going to really like that. That band is awesome. Like, just check it out." And it's totally true. So the band is from Australia. This is an EP from 1992. And I was not expecting it to sound like this. The sound like what it sounded like. I mean, this logo alone and this picture of the album makes me think that it's either going to be heavy metal, like old, like new wave heavy metal, or British new wave new wave British heavy metal, or just traditional heavy metal sound, or possibly kind of a typo negative vibe. Maybe My Dying Bride, maybe some sort of a doom aspect to it. No. It's death metal. Talk about don't judge a book by its cover, because you would not assume that. It sounds like Bolt Thrower with some thrashy elements into it. I think this band started off pretty much like a Thrash and Speed, which, okay, yeah, I can definitely see that. A Thrash and Speed, definitely, with that album cover. But this is a very much a Bolt Thrower sounding EP with a little bit of those thrashy elements still in there. It sounds like they started to pluck away their thrash and speed sound right at this EP, and then just went straight death metal after that. I think they only have one full-length album that came out in 1999, so I need to go listen to that now. Never listened to it. But yeah, the logo completely threw me off. But as a whole, this is very solid death metal. It's got that Bolt Thrower, sound to it for sure. It's got mid-paced, chunky riffs. And then at times, here and there, some doomy kind of stoner sound. Not too heavy, but every once in a while also still incorporating some of that thrashier, aggressive but thrashier, aggressive moments into it. So it's definitely like a death thrashy album from time to time, as well as just like that Bolt Thrower death metal. So here's the J card right here. And I've heard that Alan over at Heavy Metallurgy and then Let's Talk Metal absolutely loves this band. So there you go, Alan. Here's some eye candy for you. You probably already own it on like 4 different formats. First presses, whatever else. And then here's the tape. They did it all over print tape, which looks awesome. So this is definitely a gem to have into your collection. I'm a fan now, and it's hard to believe I've never heard this before. Immediately, I'm surprised I had it, because I would have immediately just thought that was either heavy metal, traditional heavy metal, or thrash and speed based on that album cover. So this is really good. This was the first thing I listened to out of the box, because it was immediately like one of the first comments or like one of the first messages I got about it, that video. People immediately plucked this out and said, oh my God, that's so good. So I'm sure a lot of you, I already know a lot of you were familiar, but I figured I would just let you know my thoughts on it. I really enjoyed this. This was one that I've played several times already in the last couple of days. Oh, I'm yawning on camera. My throat's dry. Hurts from coughing. I don't have shit to do today, so I really want to try and get a video out. Okay, so the next tape in that box that I made sure I wanted to talk about first in my first video was this one, Toxo Death with Phantasms. And if you're not familiar with the movie Phantasm, the death metal, the horror movie, that is the house from it. So that just, I really like this album cover. Obviously, it's very kid-esque with how it looks, but it's just, you know, clean, straightforward. This is the house. I don't know. I mean, there's worse album covers out there, but this is, I was familiar with this. I remember I went and listened to it on Bandcamp and stuff like that. So this is a demo from 1988 from a band that is in Mexico. And I was reading this might be some of like the oldest death metal ever heard from Mexico, or like one of the first bands ever played death metal in Mexico. I don't know how true that is, but that was just something that I read. And it's very that old school demo raw sound, just terrible production. But it's got very fuzzy, dirty, raw production. I really enjoy it though. There we go. The horror movie. If you're familiar with Phantasm, then you know who that is. And then these guys, they just look super young. I'm assuming they were super young when they made this, which is great. I love that Xerox image of them. And then the tape is all over print like that. So it's a pretty quick listen. It's not a very long demo at all, which they generally aren't. But this is probably an acquired listen, I will say, out of everything that I'm going to talk about today. Just because of the production alone. It's a pretty raw sounding production. The mix is pretty all over the place. At times, the bass is so present and there and loud. It was blasting my stereo speakers. I had to turn it down a couple of times. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to blow these out. And then other times, the vocals can be kind of hard to hear over everything else. But when you get past all that and you realize it's a demo in the 80s from a band that's probably maybe no older than 17, funding was low, I'm sure. So that sound quality definitely, like if you want something super pristine and sound like this is not your cup of tea. But as a whole, it is very fast, aggressive death thrash, and it's just done in a really good way. I kind of wish like this band was still around. I don't know if they're around actually. Let me make sure. Are they split up? It says they're active, and there is a little bit of a black metal flair in their older music. They have 2 full lengths out that came out in 1993, and you hear kind of a little bit of black metal influence in there, but they haven't done anything since. I mean, there's a split in comps that have come out recently, but I haven't seen anything since. So maybe they're just playing live shows or something. I don't know. But kind of was hoping that they would continue to make new music because, damn, just this demo alone was showing promise for some amazing albums to come. And the last 2 albums that they released, I did enjoy. But, I mean, that was back in the 90s. So, yeah. But this is really good. This is a really good underground gem. I really enjoyed this. I've listened to this a couple of times already. This is definitely a quick listen, so don't put it on and expect to get a lot done. You're going to get up and flip the tape pretty quick, and then it's going to be done. But it's definitely a quick little listen if you're just into something that's a little bit more obscure, a little bit more raw, rough sounding, not so clean, not so polished, not new school death metal. This is definitely for you. And I really, really enjoy this. This was one of the things that was on my to buy list from Intuit Records, so I'm glad that I got this. So check this out. Everything is on Bandcamp or streaming platform or YouTube. So I will link everything in the description as always. I need to stop saying that. You guys should just know it's already there. However, there are some new people that come from time to time and are like, where do I find this? Look in the description, homeboys. Okay, and then the final tape that I'm going to talk about from the Intuit Records box is actually one that I was already familiar with. I had already listened to it. It came out in January. It's a brand new album that came out this year, so I'm going up to new music now. Back to new music now, I should say. And this is, again, one of my favorite releases to come out this year. Fantastic. Blew me away. Didn't expect it to be as good as it had been. And it's not necessarily music that I listen to all the time, but this is one I've been listening to quite a bit. This is a new Desparity album. The Incessant? Is that how you say that? Is that what it is? I can't read the font. Did I write that? The Incessant? Yeah. So here's the thing you need to know about this. This is a one-person band, is out of the Netherlands. And this is melodic death doom, done in the way of the old school Gothenburg days. It's very, very reminds me a lot of very early In Flames, a lot of Fate's Warning. Wait, did I mean to say Fate's Warning? Did I mean to write Fate's Warning? I don't know. No, I don't think I did. What the fuck? Why did I write Fate's Warning? My Dying Bride definitely has some of that influence into it. It's a very, very good album. And it blew me away. Edge of Sanity, that's who I meant to write. I don't know why I said Fate's Warning. And then Paradise Lost was the other band. There's like a mix of all of those bands. This is definitely like paying homage to all those bands in his own way. He is 16 years old, is from what I was finding online. And just wrote and recorded everything. And it sounds phenomenal. Like, you would think that this person has been writing music and doing it for ages. I couldn't believe it. So, I'm not the biggest, like, At the Gates or Dark Tranquility fan whatsoever. I mean, I like one In Flames album. Those bands have always been kind of hit or miss with me, or I don't know. They've never been my thing. But there's a lot of heavy influences of those on this album, as well as a lot of those doom passages of even Evoken. I get Evoken vibes on here too, of Paradise Lost and a little bit of Esoteric. So there's just a lot of things that I hear on this album. So obviously he's wearing his influence on his sleeves with this. So it's a phenomenal record. It's 40 minutes long, so it doesn't drag forever. I mean, some songs are about 9 minutes, but that shouldn't, don't let it deter you, especially if you're into that death doom sound. Melodic death doom, I should say. It's got a very heavy melodic sound to it. Incredible. I mean, the first song, Embedded in Frost, is probably one of my favorite songs on the album. But then we get to Stagnance, which is, again, another one of my favorite songs. That's 9 minutes, 15 seconds. Like, these songs are slightly longer, but it's definitely worth it. So I was very pleasantly surprised. I had no idea who this band was. I just saw it was coming out back in January, and I was like, that looks interesting. Is that black metal? Like, what is that? No, I was surprised. And again, I really have to be in the mood for melodic death doom. And this one I haven't needed to be in the mood for. Like, I'll put it on, I'll just listen to it. I really, really enjoy it. So here is the J card, and then it's a very simple on the other side. No lyrics or anything, which is totally cool. I like that. I like the album artwork. It's simple. I think that's not a statue. I mean, it is probably a drawing of a statue. Is that the Archangel Michael? I don't remember. Anyway, awesome stuff. Yeah, just a kid named Bruno, which awesome name. Yeah, I don't know. That's it. That's all I know. And this is the only thing that's been put out. So, just was really, really surprised when I put this on. And then the tape is just a pro printed tape with white ink on both sides. So if there's one thing that you're looking into for new music this year, definitely check this out. And definitely check out that Eternal CD I showed off. These are some underground gems that have come out this year that definitely are going to be on the year-end list. They're just very, very good. This is starting to pick up steam. I'm starting to show a lot of people talking about this, which makes me happy. So, again, and this one is incredible. I was blown away by that. I couldn't believe it. When I first heard it on Bandcamp the day it came out, when I was going through and listening to new releases, I was shocked. It's like, wow, I really, really like that album. It's great. Okay, and then finally, we're 20 minutes. Damn, I'm talking longer than I thought I was going to. Finally, the last is a black metal album. I know a lot of people have been asking me to bring back the Black Metal Mondays. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I have not been listening to a lot of black metal lately. But this one is the exception. And then one other album that I got in fairly recently that was a pre-order. It finally came in. But this one, it just, I can't stop listening to it. It's Vorga's new album, Beyond the Palest Star on Transcending Obscurity. This came out fairly recently. I don't remember. You can look when it came out. This is their second full-length album. The band is out of Germany. I was not a fan of their first album. I'll be honest with you. I just, there was something about it that was pretty flat. Came flat for me. Like, it just samey, didn't do it for me. It was called Striving Toward Oblivion. I mean, some of it was good, and some of it I got kind of bored with it. This, however, completely redemption. A phenomenal atmospheric black metal band. And this album is phenomenal. And yes, it is definitely spacey. It is spacey, atmospheric, black metal. The vocals are awesome. Every single song is so good. Just jams, awesome riffs, stellar guitars, just so many things about black metal that I absolutely love, and they do it right. So this is Transcending Obscurity, and if you know Transcending Obscurity, they Canal goes above and beyond for packaging and make sure that you really enjoy the product that you get. And that goes across everything. Tapes, CDs, vinyls, shirts, bags, mugs, whatever else they're making. So it came with a really awesome sticker of the album cover, which I need to figure out what I'm going to do with that. And also, this is a hand-numbered Digipack CD. Now, normally I wouldn't care for Digipack CDs, but I know what I'm getting with Transcending Obscurity because just wait. But it's hand-numbered. Comes with a special hand-number card. I got 18 out of 500. So, yeah. And Transcending Obscurity is by far one of the best labels out there. Underground labels, they find so much shit. So good. I've reviewed several of their stuff on here. I've talked about them several times. It's been a while since I've shown off anything by them. But here is the Digipack. So, we've got a, like, rubbery feeling Digipack with, like, the spot gloss. I don't know if you can see that. And then a little bit of embossing on the logo and some of the asteroid rocks there. And then it opens up into several different panels. So, here's what it looks like when you open it. Again, that spot gloss. Really, really nice, vivid imagery. And then the lyrics on the inside of the panel, and there you go, it opens up like that. And that spot glossing and that really nice card stock that it has on here, just all around, it's a super nice digibook. It came perfectly as well. And then here's the spine, and then there's the back. So this is getting talked about. There's a lot of steam around this. A lot of people really, really enjoy it. I've seen several of my friends show it off on the socials and stuff like that. It's just, if you're an atmospheric black metal fan, you're going to absolutely love this album. It's space themed, obviously, and you get those like pulsar sounds and those like synth sounds in this album, especially towards the end of the album. I think it's Fractal Cascade and then into Terminal. You get those sounds. It just really creates the atmosphere and really makes you understand what you're listening to. Or like what you're about to listen to. But yeah, this is so good. I've really, really enjoyed this album. I would have definitely just made this its own video, but I really wanted to talk about it today because I finally got it in, and I love it. So I definitely, would have gotten the record, but I went with the CD because I knew buying records was not the thing for me right now. But if you're ever looking for transcending obscurity stuff in the U.S., they do have their own U.S. website. They do, and you can order them through Bandcamp, and it's decent. The shipping is not bad. They're based out of India, so previously, in recent years, they didn't have a U.S. distribution, so when you would order from them, it took forever, but it eventually got here. They're now on Indie Merch too, so Indie Merch carries most of their stuff. A lot of the new pre-orders are not on there, so you have to go through Bandcamp, but this is there, so if you want it, that's how you get it. But yeah, I love this album. Like I said, I was not a huge fan of their first album at all. I've gone back and tried to listen to it again because of how much I loved this one. It still doesn't really do much for me, so but this one I really enjoy. So that is all that I have for you guys today. I have about, you can see like the massive tapes back there. That's a lot of those, all the Intuit record tapes. So I have a lot to get through, and then I have a huge stack of CDs I have to get through. So the collection updates are going to be like the only thing that I'm posting these next couple of weeks, and then maybe a review here and there. So that is all that I have. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Hopefully in my next video I'm not so... I'm going to go sleep it off again, and I'll see you guys in the next one.